Alright, today we're going to go over this Milwaukee M12 hammer drill driver. This one is model number 2504-20. So the 20 would be just for the tool only, or you can get the 21 or 22, which comes with a charger and one or two batteries. You know, one battery for the 21, two batteries for the 22. So this is a half-inch, I believe, let me check. Yeah, it's a half-inch chuck here. And so this one, you open it up and it's just a classic drill, but this is like the M12 platform versus, you know, older, you know, M14, you know, like a 14 volt or 18 volt or whatever. So this is 12 volt, and this is, you know, very, very handy. This is actually a brand new one. The one I had before this was basically like the precursor to this one, and I did end up having an issue with it. I got it for like, it was like 150 bucks. These aren't very expensive and they're very, very useful. So good price, very useful, pretty good quality. And so the other one, don't know what happened, just had an issue with it, but I reached out to Milwaukee, sent it in, and then they sent me out a new one of these. And so, you know, I noticed that the differences between them, because, you know, this one comes with this adjustment piece here is a little bit different, and so, and it's also built a little bit different. It's a little more, see how this one is square. The older one was more like this. This is a impact driver, but it was a little more round, you know, a little more roundy, and so they're just, it was different. But I've had this one for a little bit and it's been good. So let's take a look over it. So you have your battery life indicator right there. This one has, you know, 3 bars. It's a little bit more difficult to tell on camera, but you can see 3 bars. It's got a working light. You got the chuck down in there. Setting 1. And then you have setting 2. So basically the difference between them is, you know, how fast this piece spins. So, you know, you have your different settings here. So setting, you know, it goes, let's see if I can show you, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so that goes all the way up to 17, and then, you know, on the older ones I think it said 18 or something like that, and then it also kind of had a drill bit symbol next to 18, but now it just says drill bit. So if you're going to use a drill bit, I think they recommend you put it on here. So basically what that means is you get the max torque out of this, and then it has the hammer drill function. I guess if you were, you know, drilling in light concrete or something like that, you'd be able to use this, and that's kind of what you use that function for. But yeah, this is handy if you're doing you know, drilling with drill bits, because, you know, I have these drill bits here that I use, and so these are 1/4-inch hex drill bits, and so they also fit into this impact driver. But when you use an impact driver, when the actual piece is spinning, it's doing a little wobble like this. You know, my fingers aren't going, you know, instead of it's physically spinning, it's doing a little bit of a wobble while it's spinning, so it's not as accurate. And the drill bit doesn't function as well in metal. It functions pretty well in wood, but if you're drilling through metal, you can tell a big difference between the impact driver and the actual drill driver. So I would recommend having one of these. You can get both of these actually as a kit, and it's relatively affordable, and they're both great drills to have. I would definitely recommend them for any homeowner and even any contractor that, you know, doesn't use, you know, a drill or an impact driver that much. You know, if you're doing heavy use, you probably would want to go with 18 volt, which is the M18 line, just because of the runtime you'd get out of them. But these actually do have pretty good runtime as well, and they're just super light and super nimble. But let me set the camera down and see if I can get you another angle and show you how these dials, see how these numbers work. Alright, so We got the camera set up a little bit. I'm going to show you about these, you know, the numbers and all that stuff on this drill and kind of how it works and stuff like that. So there's two speed settings. You have speed 1, speed 2, and then you have a bunch of settings on this dial here, which, so that's the hammer drill function, max drill bit function, and then you have 17 settings of kind of like torque settings. You can kind of think of them that way because we have it on setting 1, speed 1, and if I put my finger, my grip around this and hold on to it, it won't go any further. That's kind of its max torque, so it's very light. But if I turn it up to 10, it's got a little bit more grip. And then if I turn it all the way up to max drill bit mode, it just rips right through my hands with the same amount of pressure. I can't even hold on to it. So another thing I wanted to go over is, so if I put it on setting 1, these, you know, like torque setting 1 or whatever, it also puts a little bit of a delay on the actual piece here. So I'm pressing this trigger all the way down. Let's see if I can get it to focus on me. Yeah, there you go. So all the way down, and watch the delay. Okay, so the delay there is a lot, kind of a slow start. So this is on setting 10. Still a delay, and then if you turn it all the way up to max drill bit, just goes straight in. So it works, these numbers kind of had to have a delay mechanism. That way, if you're trying to do like precision drill bits, so if you're using drill bits and you're drilling into metal and you're trying to, you know, if you just go from 0 to 100 miles an hour, then the drill bit might walk over the surface before you get it where you need it to be, and if it's something you don't want to mess up on, then you might consider using one of these dial settings to kind of have a slow start, and you know, also keep it on speed setting 1, which let's see how that works. So this is, we're going to turn it up to kind of like the drill bit setting, I guess you could call it, and then we're going to leave it on speed 1 and watch this and see how the rotation, the RPM, is slower. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell. I wouldn't watch here as much as I would watch kind of here. Let's see if I can. Okay, so let's see if we can do it this way. So you see that? So we're going to flick it over. We're going to leave it still on the little drill bit mode. Flick it to speed 2. It spins so fast. Let's see if I can get a very close-up look. So speed setting 2. Speed setting 1. So that's basically how that works. You know, and then you have your hammer drill function if you were going to like you use this to do light concrete drilling, but you're going to wear out the battery really fast if you're trying to do a lot of heavy concrete drilling. So I would definitely recommend, you know, you could do it, you could use this for that purpose, and so that's kind of what the hammer drill bit setting is for. You'd have to, I don't have any of those drill bits, but you know, you can find them in the store. Basically it's a concrete drill bit, and it's just a kind of a mode to help it kind of go through the concrete a little bit easier, I guess you could say. And then yeah, these other speed settings would be great if you're trying to, so if you were to put a Phillips bit in here, and you were working on, you know, screwing in Phillips head screws, wood screws or something like that, and you're working on like a delicate piece of wood or something like that, you could kind of tone down your torque settings with this, and it would allow you to not over tighten it. So most of the time they don't recommend, if you're using if you're using some kind of screw or something like that and it's a delicate surface, you should usually use a hand tool, an actual Phillips head screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, whatever it is, versus a drill like this, because they're very powerful and they can just break stuff. So it's basically like, if you just put this on max speed and you just go to town and you don't know what you're doing, then it would basically be similar to just taking a hammer to it. It would just break it, whether you're putting in wall sockets or you're working on delicate wood pieces. And if you go in and you're working too fast, you can just break stuff. So something to consider. And I would definitely recommend let me show you these little trays here. Milwaukee sells little packs like this, and they're very handy. You can just close it up, take it wherever you want, put it in your tool bag or whatever, and it stores all your bits in here. So I use this mainly because this has, most of these are hex bits, so these are normal little small drill bits here. But these fit into this little quick change piece here, and you can put this into here and secure it down, and then you can just quickly go between flathead and Phillips head and Torx bits and Allen bits and stuff like that. Or you can get an impact driver like this. Check out my other video on this if you want to see my thoughts on this and why I love this one so much, and the difference in uses between the two. But this is definitely a good drill to have. I find myself needing this more for using drill bits, and so when you have the chuck like this, you can just use a normal drill bit. So Milwaukee also sells hex, so like basically what that means is, so these little drill bits, they have this little mechanism here. So this is the impact driver, and so you can stick this in here and it locks in. And like I said, you could in theory use this tool to accomplish that, but it's got the quick release here. You just pull out on it, take it out, or you can open this piece up and you can stick this into here and lock it down. So let's see if I can do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do it quite with one hand, but slide that in there. Okay, so you basically just lock that down, and then boom, you got your drill bit and you're good to go. But when you're using something like this, and also when you're using drill bits like this, they're not always, these aren't always long enough. So you can get a normal drill bit that just attaches in the normal way, I guess you could say. And I'm not going to be able to take this off with one hand, I don't think, I guess. But you can put on a longer drill bit and get into more access areas and stuff like that. If you're trying to have a longer drill bit, it would come out further. Plus, this is definitely more accurate versus something like this when you're using a drill bit. But you could also use your regular old Phillips head and flathead and all that jazz. But that's basically, what the majority of people would use this for, is drill bits. And then something like this is impact. And you can do all kinds of stuff with this. You can still use the drill bits, but it's not as efficient. And you can also use these little socket adapter pieces, so you can use sockets and nut driving pieces, and you can use your Phillips and all that stuff. And this would fasten screws a lot faster than this per se, but this still works pretty good. So alright, so I wanted to show you how how this drill kind of does with the a few different things. So I've got two 2x4s here, and I have a 3-inch wood screw, and so I've got the drill with the Phillips bit on it, and so we're going to go kind of over some of those things I was talking about with the different settings and show you what I mean about how they work. So I have it set to speed setting 1, and then I have it set to setting 10, and we're going to try and see if we can drill this 3-inch screw into this wood. Alright, so that was setting 10. So if I turn this down to setting 2, it won't go any further. So we'd have to turn it up. So that's speed setting 5, and it still won't go in, but you can see, you know, if you were using that on something else that was a little more delicate, maybe a very thin screw and a delicate piece of wood or something like that, you know, you would want a lower setting. But you know, we're going to turn it up to the drill bit setting now, and and so it goes all the way in fine, and that's on setting 1. Let's try setting 2. So, new hole, and then this is speed setting 2, and it's on full power. So, you can see that goes in a lot faster, and you know, it works. Things I don't, you know, the reason I don't like using a drill as much is because you have to put a lot of pressure on the screw while you're drilling, you know. So I was doing it with 2 hands with this thing, and that's kind of what you get when you're using a drill versus, you know, if I take this same bit and all, you know, in all the same situations or whatnot, and I put it in an impact driver, you know, an impact driver with the screw. Let's get it started. So I can take it with one hand and zip it down, and the impact makes it easier to put the screw in versus the drill. So I'm not sure if that's coming across. Maybe it's oh so simple, but you know, when I was using this drill, when I was using the regular drill, and you go, you know, that the impact driver was on full power, and this is going to be on full power here. The drill is going to be on full power as well. If I try to do it with one hand, it you know, the exact same drill bit and everything, you can see there's metal shavings all over the bit, and now the screw's getting rounded out. So it just takes a lot of pressure. You have to put down a lot of pressure on a drill to get it in there versus an impact. But the drill does far better with, you know, actually, you know, with drill bits, obviously. But let's see if I can show you that. Alright, so we've got a drill bit. This is a 1/4 inch size drill bit, and we're going to drill into the wood, and then I have a piece of metal. We'll drill into the metal to see the differences as well between the drill and the impact driver. So with the drill, you know, you put it in the wood, and it goes right through it. Not a problem. So that's not a big issue. And it's the same thing with the impact. Now the impact's going to work. The impact's going to work a little bit different. When it starts to get under pressure, it's going to actually, this can still drill, but once it starts to hit some resistance, it starts impacting. So let's see if we can get it to do that. So once you get deep down in the wood, it starts going into, impact mode, and but it still works in a piece of wood. So let's switch over to a piece of metal, and I'll show you the differences between the two drills in metal. Alright, so we've got this mower blade here. It's about 1/4 inch thick, and I've got the 1/4 inch drill bit on here, and this is the actual drill. And let's go ahead and see if we can drill through this blade. It's probably really tough steel, but we'll see if we can get through it. Alright, so about halfway through, and the drill bit is extremely hot, but let's see if we can switch it over to the impact, and we'll try to do the same thing with the same drill bit. So let's take an up close look at this mower blade. Alright, so this one right here was just a little test spot, but this is what I got done with the actual drill. You can see how deep that is. And then this is what this is the hole from the impact driver versus the drill. So you can see the drill went through a lot easier. It didn't drill all the way through, and of course the impact driver didn't go all the way through with a drill bit this big, and this steel on these blades is really heavy duty, so probably hardened steel. So I was putting all my weight on these two, and I could have easily gotten through this mower blade with the drill, but I didn't want to drill into my table here. But just to kind of show you, the impact's not as efficient with actually drilling into metal. So yeah, just kind of the differences between the two. Drill driver versus impact driver, and you know, they both work okay. The impact driver works better for fastening the screws, and the drill works better for drill bits. but they can both do both tasks. So if I put a really thin drill bit on both of these and tried to go through the same piece, I know they would both go through it, but you know, it really makes a difference when you're trying to use a bigger drill bit. For some reason, the impact driver just doesn't work as well. And so that drill bit that I had on there was a brand new drill bit. Has not been used on anything, and so you can see, you know, drilling through this steel right here is really hard on drill bits, and the drill did it relatively well. It was getting hot, but you know, the bit was getting hot, and so the impact driver here, it just, you know, it doesn't go through as well. Smaller drill bits work in metal, but not larger ones. It's just not as easy. So that's why I like the drill for drill bit purposes, wood and metal, and it does work for drilling in screws, but like I said, you have to put a large amount of downforce on the drill, or it tends to jump off. So you're trying to drill downward, and as you're drilling, if you don't put enough down pressure, it jumps off of the screw. And so let me see if I can show you the screw. So this is the screw that I went to use with little pressure on the drill, and you can see how it's rounding out the screw head here versus you know, like this. This is what it should look like versus what it does look like. Let's see if it'll focus in. Yeah, there you go. So the left is the, you know, a new screw, and the right is a, you know, after using the regular drill and not putting a lot of down pressure, it tends to jump off, and then you can round out the screw. But the impact driver, it just works better. It may put the screw into the wood faster, maybe just by a little bit, but you know, the drill does work fast as well, but it's just not as, it takes more effort to use the drill versus the impact. And then, you know, like I was saying about the metal, the drill bits on the actual drill driver work better in metal than the drill bits on the impact driver. So that's kind of the comparison between the two, and you know, let me know your thoughts if you have the same kind of experiences with the two. But you know, I have both of them, and I think they're both great to any arsenal for your power tools. So those are my thoughts on the Milwaukee M12 hammer drill driver, if you would call it, and it's been a great tool to me. Like I said, the initial one broke, but I've got this one now. Milwaukee's customer service is good, and their warranty is, you know, 5 years on tools, so you can't beat that. It's pretty good, and they have reasonable prices. So I'll try and put a link to this. I get all my stuff from Home Depot for the most part. I would say pretty much everything I've had Milwaukee has come from Home Depot, because they usually have good prices, and sometimes they have extra deals. And so I'll try to put something in there for that. If this video was helpful, consider giving it a like, consider subscribing for more videos about more Milwaukee tools, and thanks for watching.